Hey everyone, thanks for being here on the For Your Success podcast. I'm your host, Katie Hornor, and today we have a very special guest with us. She is the host of the Daily Hustle podcast, as well as the CEO, founder, author, everything behind the scenes as well over at tribeofdrivenwomen.com. And so, Michelle Pippin, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here.
Oh, it's such an honor to be here. I've been really looking forward to it.
Well, tell us a little bit about your latest launch. We're here to talk about launching high ticket offers in this new series that we're doing, and love to hear a little bit more about yours.
Yeah, so it's funny because my evolutionary, evolution of my offers actually kind of has gone in reverse. Like when I first began, I had a lot more high ticket offers. When I first began coaching, I was one of the highest paid coaches on the East Coast, at least on the East Coast. And largely because I designed my business around my life. I had 3 children. I was homeschooling. I couldn't afford time-wise to have a bunch of clients paying me a little bit of money. So I had to have a little bit of clients paying me a lot of money. So, and then as I've gone, I don't work one-on-one with clients anymore. I only have the Women Who Wow membership. And so it's made to be very affordable. But I can tell you, I have launched probably 100 different programs, at least some at, a higher over $2,000 limit, as far as, not just programs, but also events that are $3,000 and $5,000. And I've launched cheap ones. I can tell you that it doesn't take any more effort to get people to pay a higher fee than it does a lower fee, right? And in fact, sometimes your low fee works against you, right? Because we have this idea of, it's too good to be true, or you get what you pay for, that kind of thing. And so for anybody who's doubting that, I just want you to know that it doesn't take any more extra like savviness or high arm selling or anything like that to sell a higher dollar program than it does a cheaper ticket. And the key, though, I feel like the key difference, what I've learned from a million different launches, it feels like my own as well as our member businesses, is when you're selling high ticket, anything over $2,000 to $3,000, the best way to sell it is not like buying ads and funnels and all of that stuff. It is definitely a not print. I grew my digital membership by print invite only for 18 months, literally, right? I wanted the right women in the group, right? But personal invite, right? A lot of times we try to avoid that for some reason. It is what fills events. It puts butts in seats. It fills the programs. And so for any launch, high ticket or low ticket, but particularly high ticket, I recommend that you start with what I call a list of 50, right? As you're creating the sales copy, as you are considering what you're putting into the program, think of 50 names, not a demographic. Demographics don't buy, right? People buy. And so think of 50 names of people who really should say yes to your offer at any price, and create the offer for them, and then personally invite them. When I'm in launch mode, I always have a list of 50. It's 50 names. So if Katie Hornor is on my list and I say, why don't you buy this? And you say no, or you say yes, either way, you're scratched off the list. And then I replace your name with somebody else. I'm always working off a list of 50. And anybody can do this, right? I feel like all of the launch stuff out there is about building a list and the free offer and the $7 offer. And it's like all these steps between you and the person you want to serve. High ticket, let them know you're thinking of them and why you want them to say yes, and go in direct. It's the fastest, best way to launch a high ticket program.
How long did it take you to get comfortable having those conversations with folks? Have you always been someone who could just strike up a conversation and sell anything, or is that something that you grew into?
Well, I had the very exciting experience of being like broker than broke when I first began my business, right? So I didn't consider any aspect of whether or not I was comfortable selling. Like, I was married then and I'm married now to the love of my life. He's a public school teacher. We had $213 in savings when I quit my job with no other plan B. This is 22 years ago. So back when like nobody worked from home, you heard like rumors of it, but you didn't personally know anyone. And so whether or not I was comfortable selling, it never occurred to me to even consider that, right? I was uncomfortable having the power cut off. So I got comfortable inviting people to buy from me. It really is like, I talked to Damon John at an event we were both at a couple years ago, and, his book, The Power of Broke, came out. I was like, I lived The Power of Broke, and it was the best thing ever because I didn't consider branding, networking, paying for ads. I just had my list of people. They happened to be my wedding list, right? Like people who would know my name or my parents' name or my husband's name. And I just went direct to them, and a print little letter. I followed up on, via phone after that, because not everybody back then used email. And so I didn't get comfortable with it. I was more uncomfortable not paying my bills. And so I just invited people to buy from me. And for people who are uncomfortable with it, though, I just want you to consider it. It's like an issue of consent or permission, right? And for any mother listening, right, like, how we feel about, unsolicited parenting advice, right? And so it's like, I don't want to fall into that category as a, I guess, for lack of a better term, like as a business coach, right? I don't want to fall into that category. I need your consent in order to really make a difference in your business, right? Like you can hang around the peripheral of Women Who Wow, which is my membership, and you can feel the heat of what we're doing, right? But you're really not going to become the fire until you say, yes, I'd like to come in, right? And so it's really about getting a professional exchange. The difference between like your church softball team and, a major league team is that the major league team gets paid, right? And so they show up like they get paid. And so if you're uncomfortable, consider like when you were a kid, everything was new to you, right? I remember my second daughter, when she was 4, we put her on a roller coaster and she cried the entire time, but she did it. And afterwards, I was like, baby, I'm so proud of you. Weren't you scared? And she looked at me like I'd grown 2 heads. She's like, yeah, I was scared. But you know what? As a kid, they don't think that's worthy of not doing it, right? They're like, of course I was scared, and I did it anyway. And as women entrepreneurs, I don't care if you're uncomfortable as long as you're willing to do it anyway, right? Like, do it uncomfortable. It's totally fine.
Yeah. It's like that quote that says everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear, right?
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of us put too much stock into fear of man, into judgments of people who aren't our right fit people anyway, into, like all this, like if you have this gift that can change people's lives, like how dare you keep it to yourself?
Absolutely.
Why would you not be putting it out there for folks and giving them a chance to opt in for you? So
yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. So
good.
What would you say is your biggest learning in all of the launches that you've done? Like what's one thing that's made the biggest difference in the success of these launches?
What I just said, like going in, doing, not trying to avoid personally inviting people to buy from you, right? It's the best way to go. It's the fastest way to reach your financial goals. It might be uncomfortable, do it anyway. And people like being invited. Invitational marketing is really what I teach. So people like being invited. A lot of times, like I have this higher level event coming up in New York City. And sometimes I will, many times I've invited people and they've said, oh, I was waiting to see if I got the invite. In other words, did you think of me? It's a media event. So meeting with the national media, and they're like, oh, I was wondering if you were going to invite me, right? They waited on that. They felt good to be invited. And then I was so glad that I did invite them. But so the invitational marketing is absolutely huge. Avoid it to your own peril, particularly if you actually need to make money in your business. That's the first thing. The second thing is to consider what your market values, right? So like, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with the media. And it's, I'm more of a conservative person. So, I'm sure they have a love-hate relationship with me as well. But, I know that my market considers it important, right? So like I have Good Morning America Weekend on my little media reel and Entrepreneur Magazine. And I do that not because it's important to me, but because it's important to my people. So consider what people look at, right? And get whatever you need to get. A lot of times we think it's certifications. I'm certified by my results, right? Like that's my answer. I happen to be a certified coach.
Yeah.
Nobody cares, but they do care about whether I'm a big deal or whether I'm, speaking on stages with certain people. And so I make sure like that is something I keep in my awareness. But the direct invitational marketing is the thing that's going to make the biggest difference in your actual bottom line and in your launch.
Do you have any stats on that invitational marketing? Like if I reach out to 100 people, like what's the average that folks can expect or that you've experienced?
Oh my gosh. So first of all, if you had the online marketing world has really like gunked up business, right? Like it's like I always challenge people like if you're online, like that's a tool, right? Online is not like a business, right? You know what I'm saying? It's just a tool that we use. So you have to use the common business strategies that worked for like our great-great-grandparents before the Industrial Revolution, right? Where it's like,
the principles don't change when the culture does.
Absolutely, right? The principles work wherever they're applied. So like if it would feel weird as an example in your marriage, right? Like as an example, I was interviewed for a legal podcast yesterday, and they were like, well, what do you think about, having like a theme for every day of your social media marketing? I'm like, well, I feel the same way about that as if I was trying to spice things up with my husband. We've been married 22 years. Dressing up as a French maid, might be fun. But if I dress up like a French maid every Monday at 7 p.m., it's like now it's kind of lost its allure, right? Like it's kind of like now it's a little awkward. Same as if I have like prescribed conversations all the time. So I forget the question, but online marketing, what we don't want to do is get stuck in things that don't make sense anywhere else that they are applied. So I forget the question. Right. I apologize.
The question was in regards to the stats. Like, do you have any stats to share in terms of like when you do these one-to-one reach outs?
Yeah. So on the online marketing, they, if you have 1,000 people in your list and like 10 buy, they consider it a huge success, right? Like you got like a 1% response rate, like, you go. And so, but with one-to-one, your success is going to be far greater, right? Why is that? So I would say like if you invite 100 people to buy, 20 or 30 easy will buy. So if you're trying to fill an event, direct invitational marketing, don't skip it. It is the fast, and it's depending on your relationship with your market and how much they trust you, right? So like if I invite somebody, let's just say to the media event, which I'm selling right now, it's like they believe me. They know that I probably turn away 2 people for every person that I accept in, right? And they're like, okay, she believes in me. She thinks I'm ready. She'll get me ready, whatever it is. So depending on your relationship with your market, it could even be higher than that. But nothing that you do in your business will be higher than that invitational marketing. And the reason is, one, people like to be invited. And when I say invite them, I'm big on email. It's what I prefer. I'm not saying put them in a list in Constant Contact or whatever you're using and send that out. I'm saying, Katie Hornor, hey, I wanted you to see this, like the below cut and paste from my sales page. I want to personally invite you because I see you're doing this or you have a book coming out or whatever, right? Like it's an actual like, Katie, here's why I think you should come. Here's what I have in mind, right? And people will say that they'll say, well, I don't have time for that. They have no paying clients. I'm like, well, both of those can't be true. I still make time to do invitational marketing. It's the best use of my time. So it works because people like to be invited. It works because you are not getting caught in the not for me filter, right? Which is the number one sales robber of all time, the not for me filter, right? So, if you say client and they're a doctor, you're in their not for me filter because they have patients. They don't have clients, right? So with a one-on-one invite,
so it's customized. Yeah, it's personalized and customized, makes them feel like you're paying attention. Somebody noticed me and what I do, and
there's very little of that going around. And I have been known to like do a group email, but it'll say, hey, you're getting this email for this specific purpose, right? And I'll always say, there are 14 spots left and 18 people got this email with you. I'm very, very transparent, and people appreciate that. They respond at a much higher rate, and they respond yes at a much higher rate.
Wow. Wow. Love it. Thank you so much for all of those insights. I feel like we could have just filled a book with everything in the last 15 minutes. It's been such a joy to learn from you. I'm so excited about the New York thing that you're doing and the membership. Y'all who are listening or watching this, be sure you check the show notes for the links to everything that Michelle is doing. Check out the Daily Hustle podcast. Head on over to tribeofgermanwomen.com. And we're so grateful to have had you on the show today. Thank you, Michelle.
Absolutely.
All right. Awesome. That was great.
Good.
And any specific links that you want to send me, feel free to message them over. A headshot, something casual that we can use on the photo would be great.
Okay.
And
so links, headshot, and I'll send you the link to the New York thing, but it's kind of like a backlink, just in case somebody comes to mind, for you, but, I don't really.
Uh-oh, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So anything you want us to put in the show notes. I'm hoping to get this out in the next 2 weeks.
Awesome.
And I will let you know for sure once we have a date and some images for you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm excited.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I think we can hit this hang up button.
It says 99% though, uploading.
Yeah, it says 99. It says, please keep the page open. You can still hang up or reload. So I think we can hang up and then just don't close this browser window until it says 100%.
Got it.
Does that work?
That works for me. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon.
Bye.